Hello and welcome back to Reeling in the Peers, where we chat about and discuss all sorts of movies. My name is Gary O'Brien, and joining me today is Eoin O'Boyle as we talk about the 2022 action epic film Or. So stick around. We hope you enjoy.
That was a great seal impression, Gary.
Oh, for fuck's sake, you stole my joke already. So this is the main problem with this movie. Whenever I tell people to watch this, first of all, thank you so much for reminding me to watch this 1,000 times, because I was so glad when I did. But every time I kept telling people, oh man, you need to watch Or. You were like, are you having a stroke, Gary? Do we need to call someone?
It's like the worst. Like people are always just like, "What's the movie called?" I'm like, especially with me with a speech impediment with the letter Or. This title is a fucking nightmare. So it's just like Or.
Sorry, what is the name of this movie?
Or. I have to say or. That's it. That's how I get it rounded in my head.
Yeah. So it's the letter Or 3 times. Triple Or. Or times 3. But yes, Eoin, thank you so much for coming back and doing that. Well, one, forcing me to watch this movie, and two, for coming back and talking about it.
Like, I don't know, 15, 20 times. But you got there.
I got there eventually. And I guess for anyone who doesn't know what this movie is about, this is usually the part of the podcast where I ask the guest, but anyone who's listened to any Bones episodes knows that it always ends in disaster. So I got to try and explain this briefly because it's so convoluted. It's actually excellent. But before I do, I actually need to thank one of my followers on Letterboxd, Tadpole99, who I put up the review of this movie and was immediately like, when is Eoin coming back to do... he asked Eoin to come back and do this as a follow-up to Bahubali.
Someone with taste.
And Owen's day had been made when he heard this.
No, not only my day, but my partner's day was also made. She was just like, "You got a fan?" I was like, "I got a fan." And yeah, that was a good time. So thank you, Tadpole. Made my week. Probably a year. Who knows? Could be life. I'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah. There we go. So I guess another kind of, this opens up the opportunity for me to say, anyone who has a movie suggestion for Eoin to come back and do, please let us know, whether that be on Letterboxd or on the Instagram at Reeling in the Peers, and we'll come back and make him do another movie, and ideally something that's difficult to pronounce as well.
I got just the one. Someone please recommend I think it's called Enthran and Enthran 2.0. It's like I think it's Tamilwood again, or it's not Bollywood, it's the other one.
Hollywood and Bollywood, those are the two I'm aware of. But
it could be Dollywood then. Okay. It's basically the Terminator. And
yes!
Glorious.
We should do that actually.
Yeah.
Yes, we should.
That is a great one.
But right now we're going to focus on this movie called Or. There's no good way of saying it.
I got a good way, so...
What if I just play a seal noise every time I want to say?
Yeah, just play Kiss from a Rose. That's it. Just
yes, absolutely. Anyone who doesn't get that reference, Seal is the singer-songwriter from Kiss from a Rose, which was the theme song from Batman Forever starring Jim Carrey. So
100%.
What a reference. Yeah. But yes, this movie centers around the two real life Indian revolutionaries whose names I'm about to butcher, so I do apologize. Alluri Sitarama Raju is one of them, and then Kom Aram Beam. They're two real life, like I said, Indian revolutionaries, and the director of this movie, whose name I always forget. Do you know the name of the director?
It's Rajamouli.
Rajamouli, who would have done movies like Bahubali and Bahubali 2, which Bahubali Tubali. And basically, this movie is set in 1920s in a time where, before these revolutionaries had gone off to, lead the sort of revolution against the British, he has made this fictional timeline where they both became best friends and also had superpowers, effectively, and team up somewhat through, sort of peculiar circumstances, end up becoming best friends, and it's all about them trying to take down the British. And my God, it's just, this movie has, I feel like Stefan from SNL. This movie has everything. It has fantastic action scenes, unbelievable cinematography, a dance-off, and also just the Brits being at it, which I think has been covered in cinema, but not like this.
Yeah, no, this is classic. The Brits are at it again, especially during the opening introduction of the Brits. We're just like, oh yeah, we're just going to take this child, just normal British things.
Always at it.
Like, I feel like something
So we have one character, Brahim, whose sister has been taken by the British. And he's this sort of mythical jungle warrior. And it's
like protector of the
clan, the tribe. And then there is the other guy whose name is Raju, is tasked with hunting down Brahim. And what happens is, in a weird scenario, they both come together to save a life of a child. They don't know who each other are. Raju is hunting down Brahim. Brahim is trying to infiltrate the British sort of base or palace or house to get his sister, but neither of them know that they're effectively on opposite sides. And in the meantime, they become best of friends. And it's just, I can't even just comprehend, because that's only one small speck of the movie
as well. This is a 3-hour movie, and they did such a good job pacing it, where there is like two very clear like sides of the movie, like halves of the movie that cover sort of like the friendship and the inevitable split in the friendship, and then the recovery and the coming together to defeat the common enemy of the world, the British. And it's done so well.
And isn't it great? We're recording this before when did that happened? The 8th of September. 8th. Luckily, we can say
we have a meeting time.
Luckily, we can say as many things as many bad things about the British, because no significant event has happened that makes us look like this is in bad taste.
That's the only time we're going to reference this event that may or may not happen.
Yeah. But back to the Brits being awful. But yeah, no, this movie is so, like, what I loved most about this is, what most people will take away from this is like the big action scenes, because there is a big ridiculous Bahubali-esque action scene.
There's a few.
Towards the end of the movie. Well, the one I'm thinking is the one with all the animals. Yeah. That's like the most ridiculous scene. And our mutual friend and friend of the podcast, John Hackett, I showed him that scene, and he was like, "Oh man, that's 3 hours, and I get the gist of it. It's all a joke." And I was like, "No, that is only a small element of it." And like you say, it's beautifully paced in that how it's able to go from story about friendship, story about love, story about war, action scene, family. It covers community. It covers so many themes, but also has these big action moments in it. And like I said, there's like the songs, there's the dance, and these are all sprinkled within 3 hours. And it's one of the quickest, or like it felt like the quickest 3 hour movie I think I've watched.
Honestly, I think my favorite part of the movie was the whole justification of child warriors if they're a fucking good shot. That, like, loved it. I feel like we need more of that in our like history lessons. It's just like child warriors bad, very bad. Yeah.
No,
unless they're good with a rifle.
So you weren't happy with the end of Thor: Love and Thunder, because you were like, they don't have a good enough shot to be child warriors.
Exactly, like they have to be like gifted by like Thor weapons. Like if this was our main man, Rama, is it Rama?
Raju, or there's Raju and Brahim.
Raju, if this was our main man Raju, he wouldn't have needed those Thor powers. He would have like picked up that hammer and just went to fucking town. Yeah.
It was great. But I guess other things about this movie as well is, like, it's the most expensive Indian film to date. It cost it only cost $72 million. It's just like, that's your most expensive. Like, I feel like New Mutants was made for more than that, but yet it's such an inferior product. You know what I mean? Like,
they made that money stretch. Like,
yeah. But like, it's like I will say the CGI in Bahubali is like funny bad. But I wouldn't say any of the CGI. I think the CGI animals in this was probably the only thing where it kind of dipped off. But like,
what? Those were CGI. Don't ruin this for me, Gary. I know like we got the disclaimer at the start of the movie, like usual.
That was great. So actually, do you want to talk for a bit, and I'll get that warning up, because it's actually excellent.
It is my favorite warning. I think my best thing about that warning is the implication that not all the animals shown on screen are CGI, and then you have to play the guessing game of just like, oh fuck, which animal did they fuck up during filming? Yeah, it's like, I personally loved it. I knew what this was coming out, heard the hype, and it was on Netflix, so I was just like, yep, time to do this. And it was just what I wanted, especially when I heard it was like from the same director as Bahubali and my other favorite movie, Bahubali Tubali. So I had a great time. Wild Ride got Sinead to watch it too. She also loved it.
Although she had the human response of turning to you at one point and being like, "How long is this movie?"
How long is left?
How long is left? Sorry, there's an important word in there as well. I can't find this warning unless I go into the actual movie, but I'll do that in a bit.
Yeah. How about that? How about we just like pause the podcast, watch the entire movie again, and get back to this tomorrow?
Okay, sounds good. Chat to you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
It's still before the 8th of September. We didn't wait a day. Nothing big has happened on a global stage yet.
And we definitely know the names of the characters now that we have watched it again. They are
Alori Sitarama Raju and Komaram Beam.
So yeah, the disclaimer was no animals or birds were harmed during the making of this film. Horses, oxen, birds, tigers, wolves, bears, leopards, deer, fish, and snakes shown in the movie are all computer generated. It's a cool warning to have.
Yeah, no, we needed that. I was definitely worried about all those tigers.
Yeah. But and there's a great tiger scene in this as well. Okay, before I jump around too much, one of the big points I want to make about this movie is how much of a spectacle it is, and that's kind of what I want to pitch people on and sell this movie on, is that like it is an absolute thrill ride of 3 hours. You get your money's worth, even though it's just a Netflix subscription, and you can go watch all the seasons of, I don't know what's on Netflix these days. The Office, maybe? Is that still on Netflix? Who knows?
Yeah.
New Girl.
I'm watching the whole Cyberpunk.
Yeah, Cyberpunk. I'm trying to think of something that has like a billion seasons.
I'm enjoying it. Oh, a billion seasons? I don't know.
Law and Order, that's on Netflix. But it's like I said, it's an absolute spectacle. It has something for everyone. I feel like there's a scene in it for everyone. I stand by that. And the acting is incredible. The action scenes are incredible. But what I think the biggest point about this is that it didn't come out of Hollywood, and it's probably better than the majority of big blockbustery action Hollywood movies there has been in the last 5-10 years. Maybe that's good. Let's say 5 years.
Like, I know I haven't seen Top Gun Maverick, but I've heard like it's like up there.
Yeah.
But just from seeing or I would probably also put or up there for just like sheer just spectacle of a movie that you will just have a fun time watching the whole way through. Like this game, like let's say, like it gave me like Avenger vibes for just like the story coming together in like a really good way, and I'm just like, yeah, Disney haven't done this in a while. I think like this is like just the creativity of this story, and they sort of knew what they were doing going into it with the like just the extremes of these two characters and what they were capable of. Like our introduction to Raju is him taking on what could be like 1,000 men. Like, and it's just such a and you think like how could, and like the whole time I was watching, I was just like, how the fuck are they going to frame this, like this man taking on 1,000 men? And they did a good job. They kept it pretty coherent.
Yeah, and again it's not as ridiculous as Bahubali got it sometimes. I don't even like to say the word ridiculous. It doesn't get as unbelievable. Yes, this scene is unbelievable. Like it's fiction. Like I don't know, it comes across as silly, but like it does a great job of setting up this character of like, he's been ordered by the British general to do something, and no matter the odds, he's going to do it because he wants to appease, the Brits. And that's something that the reasoning behind this, Indian man doing that comes out later on in the movie. Yeah. But like, he's just like, no matter what's thrown at him, literally, he's like going to complete this objective. And it just shows you his determination, but I guess also his strength. Yeah. And then, cut to Bahim, then his introduction is like fighting a tiger. It's just like, okay, cool. We understand the power sets of these two real life Indian revolutionaries.
Like it was the Indian Revolution would have played out way better. I suppose way better is probably the wrong word for it. It would have been way more theatrical if these real people had these powers.
And put it this way, I've watched movies about Irish revolutionaries, and I was just like, God, honestly,
when I watched
Michael Collins recently. Yeah. I'm just like, why couldn't Liam Neeson have superpowers in that? Like, imagine Liam Neeson and Alan Rickman as Michael Collins and Eamon de Valera. Imagine them being in an or style movie. I would have much preferred that.
We hired this director to make this movie. As well, can we give him no context about the Irish Revolution? Just like, here.
I think the less context, the better.
Yeah, I think like I wouldn't, like, in fairness, like, wouldn't be as exotic. Can you imagine our CGI animals? It's just like we got some CGI cows, some CGI horses, maybe throwing some CGI dogs in there.
Yeah, we got.
Like, sadly, St. Patrick has got rid of the snakes by then, so we can't even have those.
Damn it! Yeah, we lose the whole snake element of the movie. Yeah. We don't have to tell him that.
You can take some liberties
Give him
with
creative
the animals.
license. Yeah, exactly. So we like these two characters, great, and the actors playing them are also fantastic. And I'm gonna butcher their names. I'm so sorry. So there's N.T. Rama Rao Jr. plays Bahim, and then Ram Charan plays Raju, and they're both incredible. And again, I'm gonna keep talking about this movie. These guys do comedy, they do action, they do serious dramatic scenes. Then they also do the dancing and the singing, and it's just like they're
The
like
dancing
they
was
literally
so
do.
good. It was
Oh,
so
I have
good.
if I was allowed, I'd talk about that dance scene for 20 minutes. It is honestly one of the best like things I've ever seen in my life.
Awesome.
So to give people context, I guess, is what happens is so Raju is pretending to be a common folk guy to like be friends with all the locals to try and find out this Bahim guy, guy. So, but also Bahim is trying to get into the castle. So he ends up falling in love with the niece of like the governor. So her name is
Jennifer, played by Olivia Morris.
Yes. Who was actually supposed to be played by Daisy Edgar Jones. But they signed the contract, but she had to come pull out for like family reasons or something. I think it was because this was shot during COVID. But so they end up going to this party then, and Bahim doesn't speak English, but he has a thing for Jenny, and Raju is like trying to set them up because it's his best pal Bahim. Also before this,
Raju is such a lad in this movie. This man is like lad. We could all do with a wingman like Raju.
Oh, we all could do with a Raju in our lives.
Pretty much.
But there's this scene then where he's like, go on, dance with the girl, and he goes, oh, I don't know the dance, because they're all doing weird like British dances. They're doing like the waltz and whatnot. I don't fucking know. And then there's this snooty British boy who's like, oh, the guy who probably went to Oxford or Cambridge or something like that, and he's like, who has a thing for Jenny, and he's like, you boys probably can't dance as well as us. And then the two lads are like, well, we know how to natu, and then cut to a dance off.
Yeah, I think the only way to describe this is this British man talking about all these British dances, and it's just like, when people come from like Asia and like the Mediterranean come over to Ireland, and it's just like, oh, your food kind of bland. This is like the personification of like that attitude, where this man is just like, he is mashed potatoes. He is bangers and mash is probably a more appropriate term.
He is,
and these guys
butter on toast.
Yeah. These two lads come in with like one of the most intense fucking dances I have seen performed on movie.
A ghost pepper of a meal. And spice it up.
Spicy. But it looks exhausting. I was tired fucking watching this dance. That goes on for, I would say.
It's about 4 minutes. They try to outdance the British boy, and then eventually he can't keep up with the natu anymore and has to collapse. And then all the girls woo over Bahim because, like, look at this boy. And then there's the bit. I'm giving away too much. I won't give away how it ends. But let's just say Raju being the ultimate wingman, gives Bahim an assist.
He does it more, like, even more so when he threw the fucking nails underneath the tire, which, maybe a dick move. Maybe this woman wanted to go out for a drive and got her tires, like, slashed, but worked out.
But look, she got to meet a lovely Bahim. But no, and again, like, the whole thing about this dance sequence as well, is it's character development. It's character development, and also, like, it all furthers the plot.
Yeah.
So
bonding
even though
moment
it might
for them
seem...
too.
Yeah. And, like, even though it might seem like all of a sudden in this movie there's a dance-off, it actually moves the story forward and makes perfect sense. But it's because this movie is just incorporating every element of a spectacle that it just adds to the quality of it. I don't know. It's insane.
Did we go over that the or actually stands for something and it's not just a seal reference?
No, we haven't mentioned that.
Oh, okay.
We can talk about that. What's that mean?
Yeah.
One's roar. I know one roar.
Isn't it Rise Revolution? Is that it?
Yeah, roar? I'm pretty sure roar's in there. I'm so sure. I'm going to stand by roar.
Could just be all the tigers and the leopard.
Okay, rise, roar, revolt.
Oh, revolt?
Oh, no. Yes.
Yes. Fuck, that was revolution.
But, so, yeah, I know it, like, means different things in different languages, but they just swap out the words.
Sure,
so that
let's just, like, go with ours. We're going to go with roar, roar, roar. There we go. That's ours.
Yeah, roar, roar, roar.
Audience, you comment what you think or should stand for.
But, yeah, and, like, also, another great element of this movie, I thought, was because Bahim doesn't speak English, they have English speaking characters in it, so it's more inclusive to Western audiences as well. By casting British actresses, actors, and Irish actors, which I was happy with because she was hamming it up. Her and what's his name, Ray Stevenson, I think his name is. The two of them play like delightfully evil characters in it, and
nearly like early Bond evil, like.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't even.
Like
it's more Flash Gordon evil.
I was gonna say Dick Dastardly.
Yeah, it's kind of that. They're just evil because.
Yeah.
And Ray Stevenson does a great job, and Alison Doody, I think her name is, Irish actress, who would be most famous from the Pierce Brosnan movie Taffin. And when I found out she was in that movie, I just lost my shit, and I was like, "This is the greatest movie of all time."
Yeah, I can
casting
confirm.
such high caliber actresses, and I was such a fan. But yeah, so everyone has a part to play, and what I love is that like there is it is characters and like it is all dubbed if people want it to be dubbed. There's also subtitles as well, but like I just like that how it seems to be a movie for everyone kind of in a way.
Yeah. Oh, it definitely is. Like, so we went over the dancing. I think the next other spectacle in this movie is clearly the action set pieces, and there's quite a few. There is 4 or 5 huge set pieces. Like none of them, like you could probably everyone could watch this movie and probably come away with a favorite set piece.
What was yours?
Mine, I really liked the final one because.
Like, the jungle.
Yeah, it had everything I wanted. It had a man using a bike, like a full size motorbike, as a weapon. So that was always fun. Just the whole as well. The imagery was fucking fantastic between. Yeah. I think was it like Rava, which is like the Indian gods basically, where
yes,
or Rama. It could be Rama actually, like the.
So the movie borrows from India's 2 major Hindu mythological epics, Ramayana and Mahabharata. I'm butchering that so badly, but yes, it's that apparently. So Rama Raju shares the qualities of supple and skilled, Rama of Ramayana, while Bahim is equivalent to the muscular, immovable Bhima of Mahabharata. Sorry, I'm so sorry. So they borrow from that as well.
Have you ever seen that?
I'm so sorry.
Sorry, there's just an old YouTube video. Like, this is old YouTube, so if anyone does get this reference, I'm sorry. But it's like the doggo of wisdom, and he speaks like that. He's like,
That's what pronounce these names.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting from here.
There's too many A's. Too many A's.
But I thought just for that final fight, the fucking just the imagery and the visuals were just unreal. They everything I wanted for that final fight scene. That, and actually I did say I did like when he used a bike as a weapon. I forgot early in the movie he used a fucking Jaguar as a weapon, where he just fucked a Jaguar out of man. And how do you beat that? How can you top that?
You actually can't. It's just it's such, like I say, it's an absolute spectacle in every sense of the word. And Bahim is like water and Raju is like fire, and that's elements that just kind of go throughout the movie where Raju is Rama is this just fire, forced to be reckoned with,
intense,
destructive. And Bahim is just kind of water. He's looking to it's more that sort of calming presence, and he's only doing it because he has to. He doesn't want to do any of these violent things, but it's all in the in the efforts to get his sister back, and that's kind of reflected in the first time we see these characters come together, where it's to rescue a kid, and there's a lot of fire and elements, fire and water elements involved in that. So it's so hard to explain. You just have to watch it, and I hope what we're getting at here, people listening, is that you need to see it to believe it, because the cinematography is excellent, and even the score as well. It's beautiful, and there's so many different tones that it tries to strike from different scenes. But in the action scenes, it's able to just ramp up, and you feel so intense during it, whether a man's being thrown at an elk or someone is. It's just and then
how about you? What was your favorite? What was your favorite action scene?
So I'd kind of hyped up the sort of the invasion of the British embassy, or whatever you want to call it, in my head as being the best one, because there was that I'd seen the shot of all the CGI animals. But there's a scene where Bahim breaks Raju out from prison, and that just gets so ridiculous.
It is really
but in such an entertaining way. I just remember just like picking my jaw up off the floor, being like, "This is just incredible!" I don't even want to say what the whole.
No,
crux
this
of the
is easily a
thing
movie
is,
that like if I was having like a movie night, I would be trying to convince people to like, because this is like, I know it's 3 hours, but it's a fun fucking movie to sit down and watch together, because like it's something you could just sort of like tune in every now and again and go, what the fuck happened since like last time.
And it's like, what I love about it so much is that it's just, it has the ability, like I said, there's something in it for everyone, I feel. And I don't know, I think once you get on board with it, it's just, it just goes from strength to strength. And I will say it does come across as a bit cheesy at times, but like, and also I'd say that it's actually not helped with some of the English characters. I find their dialogue is quite simplistic and very, what's the word, over enunciated in a way, because I feel like it is like at the end of the day, it is a Tollywood movie. It's made for Indian audiences, and I think it's for like more Western audiences to be included in. So like their dialogue is very cheesy, very simplistic, and I think that's just for the subtitles, just so that it can be easily translated. So like I guess from that element it can be a bit weak, but once you're on board with it, I think
I think once you sort of know what you just have to know what you're getting into. Like, you're not sitting down for a 3-hour drama fest or with like the world's best like subtle acting or anything. You're going into this for like just generally a wild ride where you won't stop smiling till start to finish. And
there's a love story in there as well. What else? I'm trying to think what other elements you got in this guy.
Well, there's like, if we're talking about elements, there's definitely a lot of fire, some water. Fairly sure big themes in the movies.
It's one of the oars,
Yeah,
it's one of the roars.
Roar, now an element, we all know.
Or I'm just looking up 3-hour movies I've watched this year. I'm just trying to like gauge.
I want 3-hour movies.
I watched The English Patient, 2 hours and 42 minutes. It's a garbage movie. It's so boring. It's actually probably one of the most boring movies I've ever watched in my life. And I'm just like, how did it have just 20 minutes less runtime than RRR and didn't blow me away like this movie did? And you have to ask yourself how that won a Best Picture Oscar and how RRR probably won't get nominated for one.
That's the true
RRR
definitely needs to be at the Oscars.
It needs to get
year.
Best Foreign Film nomination at least.
100%.
And I think it needs to get Best...
cinematography. The cinematography is fucking unreal in this movie.
Here's a question for you now.
Oh, costume design.
It
could get costume.
No, to be fair, the lads are kind of shirtless for most of it, so like,
yeah,
I don't know what
exactly.
costume.
whoever was the costumer made the right call. He was just like, you know what?
It's a bit like jazz. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it was just like the costumer just knew what he was doing. It was just like he had 2 shredded actors, just like, you know what? Maybe let's not put clothes on him. Let's just keep it what it is.
It's a bit like jazz. It's all about the costumes you're not wearing. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But
my joke. That was way better.
Yeah. But I can confirm it's the same cinematographer as Bahubali 1 and 2. It's Senthil Kumar is the cinematographer for it.
Yeah. They definitely deserve props. Speaking of props,
the CGI animals.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Like I know I watched it last week, but like it's just still stuck. You just remember those main moments of it. It didn't drag at all.
It's it's a fever dream. You finish the movie and you wake up sweating in the night, thinking of scenes from that movie, going, "Oh yeah, that existed on Netflix for."
Yeah, and actually, yeah. So just kind of speaking of the pace, because I think the only time I did notice it maybe faltered slightly was there's a bit where the characters kind of sing songs like in a Les Mis-esque situation where all of a sudden they're singing now, and there's a scene where it's kind of at the gallows, or it's maybe like someone's getting whipped, perhaps.
Oh yes.
What did you think of that song? Because I didn't think it resonated as much, just because I was reading the lyrics rather than hearing them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Like, I think it probably would come across better in like the native language if you understood it. I know Les Mis is probably fucking fantastic. Like thing description. I've seen Les Mis. Have you seen Les Mis?
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying like Les Mis is fantastic, and I was ready to just launch into you.
I like Les Mis.
It's grand. I just wouldn't say it's fantastic.
Yeah, but it was a good like description for, especially that scene where I feel like that scene is very sort of like they share the same time. Yeah. Who knew like people rising up against the authorities?
Sacha Baron Cohen running around robbing people. Yeah.
Is that Sacha Baron Cohen in that movie?
He's doing the whole pickpocketing thing. Oh, I don't think you've ever watched Les Mis. I think you just watch Les Mis to say you're cool in front of your friends. I think that's what it is, Owen.
I watch musical.
Okay, Owen.
I'm cultured. Don't ask me about any of it.
I think in 2022 it's okay to come out to your friends and say you hadn't seen Les Mis. They won't think less of you, Owen.
You know what? Maybe I Les Mis did. Nope. Yeah, that's fair. I heard it myself.
Right, what else we gotta say about this movie?
No, that deserves more of a silence.
Okay, yeah, more of a silence. The only thing that's getting silences these days, not like any global event has occurred where people are being quiet for that reason.
Exactly.
Not at all.
We are, we'll never shut down the production of this podcast talking about this movie where people are still alive and well.
Yes. But yes, actually, sorry, I will say, Natu Natu. It's a banger of a tune. And that should be nominated for Best Original Song, because I have a whole thing about original songs in the Oscars having to be part of the movie, because I hate when songs play over the credits and then they get nominated that way. Yeah. Whereas no matter, I feel like whatever wins this, I'm already a bit miffed. I can't say why I'm miffed. Let's just say I feel like I'm going to be miffed at the Emmys this year, but I don't know that because it's before the 8th of September. So I'm already angry about award shows.
You're having a premonition of anger.
Yeah, I just feel like Severance and Better Call Saul aren't going to get the love they deserve. That's just a hot take. I just feel that as someone, as someone before. Tonight. I really should check if that thing happened on the 8th of September. It's let me just see.
What thing, Gary? 8th of September.
Yeah, 8th of September. We're grand. Yeah, it's grand. 8th of September.
Good. Because we're filming this on the 7th of September. We don't need to know what's happening tomorrow.
Recording in the early hours of the 8th.
Early hours of the 8th. Got it. Early hours of the 8th.
Yeah, it's the 8th. And yes, and I think Natu Natu is just an incredible song because it has what I think to be anyway more traditional, or what we would perceive as Indian music.
Yeah.
But also has a more modernized beat to it.
It definitely should be a case where if movies nominated should have a pivotal role in the movie they're in. Playing over a scene that actually evokes the emotion the song is trying to go hammer home the effect of the scene it's being played in.
Absolutely. It's like you remember where Glenn Hansard won for Once Falling Slowly?
Oh yes.
That was perfect because it's a song written for a movie and the song is somewhat relevant to the plot, whereas Elton John winning for the song that plays at the end of the Elton John movie, I'm just
bit of a cop out.
Don't know how I feel about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going up to people in nightclubs saying, hey, play Elton John. I'm going up to people in nightclubs saying, hey, play Natu Natu. We want to.
Oh, what would happen though? If you're going up to a DJ playing Natu Natu, you're going to be challenged. Someone's coming up to you and being like, let's dance off,
I have
bro.
been doing squats for a reason. And this is this reason.
Okay.
I'm going to
I feel like it's more
Natu people.
I feel like it's the more flexibility in your knees you need for Natu Natu.
Oh, God, you're right. Running did ruin me for a little for that.
Yeah, I'm telling you gotta look after it.
Yeah, all the squats were actually preparing me for that fourth fight scene or action set piece in this movie.
I'm telling you. But yeah, it deserves Oscar love. It deserves more people watching it. It is quite it appears to be quite popular on Letterboxd, so people seem to be watching it.
It is. I've heard a lot. I watched it because of the amount of just online buzz about this, which is unheard of. I've never seen a movie from India sort of blow up in the same sense.
Yeah.
In
and I think who someone sent me, apparently Danny DeVito likes it. I think I saw something about Danny DeVito liking it, where he goes, Danny DeVito is the latest person to praise or where he says, he said something where he goes, it'll be amazing to see if people. Oh, one sec, hold on. Yeah, he goes he says something I think if I had my way next season or whatever, I could talk everyone into doing it. I think that's incorporating it into
Always Sunny.
It's Always Sunny. Yeah, we love it. It's
oh
fantastic.
my god.
But yeah,
they're gonna do the dance in Always Sunny. That would be fantastic.
That would be fantastic. But yeah. Edgar Wright said he loved it. He said finally saw RRR the movie on the big screen with a great crowd. What an absolute blast! So entertaining. The only film I have seen where the intermission card itself got a round of applause. This is it's such a fantastic movie, and I kind of have a list on Letterboxd called 100 movies to watch before you die. Well, Gary's 100 movies to watch before you die, because they're all ridiculous, because The Mask for Jim Carrey's on it. But I'm honestly considering putting this on it because it needs to be seen to be believed.
Yeah, actually, just thinking about that, what you said there, I'm actually annoyed I didn't get to see this in a cinema.
Yes,
Like, I feel like this would have been such a good cinema movie, and I'm actually really annoyed I only have to like watch it at home on Netflix. Like.
now, but would the CGI or like would the CGI be more like noticeable?
Obvious. Yeah,
If it
That's
was
true.
on a big screen? But I think I would have loved to watch it with the crowd.
Yeah, I definitely take that trade off. Like I would,
Yeah.
I would be very happy to watch this again with people who haven't seen it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm 100%. And I hate rewatching movies, but if someone I knew was like, we're all going to watch or in like a big screening, there's a load of us going, I'm like, I'm there, count me in.
Yeah, 100%. Like if we ever like get one of those apartment buildings with a home cinema, definitely doing this.
I'd be like, excuse me, we would like to rent out your cinema for what can only be described as the spectacle of the year. But yeah, Owen, I guess in a final send off, then what? I guess I'm trying to think of like how, if people are still listening, how do we get them to watch it? They haven't done.
Oh no, they stopped listening hours ago.
They stopped listening. It's just
hours ago.
Tadpole 99 listening, being like,
Exactly.
How do you keep getting those names wrong? You've had weeks to. Although I don't know if I had weeks. It's still only September 8th. But you've had so long to get these names right. It's not that many A's.
Yeah, it's like for Irish people, we should be pretty used to vowels and names.
Yeah, we were more saying your man and himself and the fella. You know what I mean?
Jan,
That's what we should have done.
Nope.
But yeah, I don't know. My biggest thing is like, look, it's on Netflix. It's on the internet as well. So if you don't have Netflix, I'm sure there's other ways to watch it. It's a quick 3 hours. It's fun. It's everything, like I said before, the song, the score, the dance, the action scenes, the cinematography, the acting, the slow-mo, the CGI. It is a spectacle.
And if you do enjoy it, I would definitely recommend going back and watching Bahubali 1 and Bahubali
100%.
2, because these are same director, same sort of epic. I feel like you definitely nail the pacing so much better in this movie. Like Bahubali 1 and 2 were his warm-up to like get this masterpiece right.
Yeah.
And yeah, just expand your horizons. There's some great movies from the other side of the world. 100% recommend them.
And like I said at the top of the podcast, well, if there's another movie like this that you'd like to see Owen do, or a movie that's not like this that you'd like to see Owen do, be sure to hit us up on Letterboxd or at Reading of the Peers on Instagram, and I'll be sure to get him back, because I think this is your 7th time, lucky number 7, on the podcast. So
we should do lucky number 11 next. No, fuck, no, that would have been for this one. Shit.
And I'll leave that one in as well. And it's, so yeah, let me know. And also, like if you want to keep up to date with the podcast, you can follow at Reading in the Peers on Instagram. You can follow on Spotify. There's also Apple Podcasts. You can subscribe there as well. I'm sure I'm sure there's many other places you can follow or subscribe to the podcast as well. And be sure to follow Owen on Letterboxd, even though he never uses it. And be sure to follow me on Letterboxd, where I probably use it a bit too much. But again, I want to say thanks for listening. Owen, again, thank you so much for coming on. And what? Sorry, I just got a text here. Something about Queen Elizabeth? Oh no.